Let's go to St James's Park, where
Yeah.
the two Uniteds face each other. Obviously, let's send out our best wishes to Eddie
Yeah.
Howe, taking the hospital on Friday night. Obviously, not quite sure personally what that is, but hoping him a fast recovery and that he's back on the touchline. Jason Tindall did a great job as his assistant today. Newcastle 4, Manchester United 1. Interesting again to listen to you and Gary in the studio, mate.
Yeah.
Let's
go Newcastle first. Let's do Newcastle
Let's
first.
start with Newcastle.
Yeah.
Let's start with Newcastle because it's a good week. It's a good weekend for Newcastle, isn't it? In terms of getting themselves back in the picture, the top end of the table. I think everybody, or a lot of people, thought maybe that League Cup win or kind of stay focused, and you can dine out on that for the next 60 years, and they'd love you in Newcastle. But it looks to me like this group are determined to try and get back to Champions League. Obviously, what they enjoyed a season ago, and want to get back there again.
Yeah, it's a good team, Rob. They're a good team.
Yeah, it's a good team.
No European football. I expected a big season from Newcastle United, and it's been a little bit of a slow burner. But when you look at the players on the field, and particularly in this matchup today, we're talking in the studio, the expectation would have been United played in Europa League Thursday. They got another second leg, of course, for Thursday coming up. There'll be a little eye on that, which there was with the selection and the subs. And Newcastle's power, if they turn the power up, which they did after about 15, 20 minutes, I thought they're fairly slow starting. They then go through the
United
gears.
started well,
They did. They used the ball pretty well.
And
then Newcastle's midfield, and it was a big day for Sandro Tonali, Rob. I thought he was not only the goal, but what a right in the end. You see this run he made at the end of the game? Where I mean, he looks
player,
imperious, like running with the ball. I thought he was brilliant in midfield, fully deserved, turned up the pace. United couldn't live with it, and it was a very comfy 4-1. And whilst I'm on about it, Rob, I'm going to bring in my underappreciated performer of the weekend. And I had quite a few contenders this weekend, actually. It's Harvey Barnes. Barnes.
Couldn't love him more.
I've always liked Harvey Barnes. And I'm sure, obviously, the club and Eddie Howe appreciates what he does, but he has been treated. He's had to be patient, hasn't he? Because Anthony Gordon is the left winger, and he hasn't really wanted to squeeze those two players in. So Harvey Barnes really has been a backup player all season to Anthony Gordon. Gordon's been out injured. Barnes has played. He scores. He's a scorer. He's powerful. He's a creator. His crossing's very good. He scores 2 goals today. The second goal, he steams through the middle on a slip from Manchester United, sticks it in the top corner. I think he is underappreciated by maybe Premier League fans in general. What he did at Leicester City and now moving to Newcastle, I believe in him. I'd love to see him as a regular starter, though it seems that Eddie Howe still likes Jacob Murphy, and no reason not to. He's a really good player. But Harvey Barnes, I mean, going back to the Arsenal, what a kind of a wide player to bring into the front line when you've got some injuries or whatever. So I just think he's underappreciated, and he's a very, very effective Premier League winger.
I remember, I think it was Premier League Summer Series the last time it was on, and he flew out to America to meet up with the team. He'd just signed from Leicester City. And, Eddie said, it was interesting talking to Eddie, said he's one I've looked at for a while, and I like all the profile about him. He just said, he said, I'm just going to have to be careful with the intensity of how we train, because he's one of those guys he thinks can pick up muscle injuries. And it was interesting that he already, and then I think he picked up a little knock. He's had a few knocks that have hindered probably his chances to go consistently. But, to Gary's point back on like front lines of top 6 teams, and obviously Newcastle want to be there and cover, that's the kind of quality you've got to have. That when he comes in, there's no drop. He brings a different element with his power and his running and his direct style of play. And he's got a good eye for goal, mate. His record tells you, from the Leicester days why Newcastle bought him. So it's a really good shout, underappreciated. Yeah. And that's what Newcastle are going to need, Rob. If they're going to be the team they want, they're going to have competition for places. If they get to Champions League, they've got to be able to maybe rest at the weekend and still have a strong team and have a strong team in Europe. So... Yeah, I like that one, Harvey Barnes, because he's a player who doesn't often get mentioned with the Isaacs, and Gordon has his moments, and Bruno and all those. But he might still have a really big part to play in Newcastle going forward. Just talking of Newcastle before we move on, Rob, and obviously Champions League now is the challenge, and it's almost like they're fixated on it with Eddie Howe and the team. Isn't it going to be important that if they're going to get there and want to start to be a real rival to the Big Six and, almost replacing the likes of the United, that the Tonalis, the Brunos, the Isaacs, the shares have to stay?
Yeah.
Do they have to stay?
Important.
Do we have to stay and add to them, mate? Because that's what takes you to the next level.
Absolutely.
It's no use, getting to there and selling Isaac for 100 million and then we got to go again.
Yeah, absolutely. And winning that title and finishing strongly, I'm thinking, why would those players want to move on anyway? It's a brilliant football club. It's a big club. Nobody loves those players more than those Newcastle United fans, Rob. And you're right. The momentum that's got now at this football club with Eddie Howe, you got to build on it. And don't let any piece of it go away. I'm sure they're on decent contracts. You've got to keep the players. You've got to add to it because it's a really, really... Even Tino Livramento, full-back that can play right side, can play left-back. You've got to add to it. Yeah, absolutely. It's a good point. Don't sell any of them. I mean, tonight, there's all been little rumours about a lot of their best players.
Tonali,
but please, if you're in Newcastle, just keep... I want to see this... I want to see where this project ends up. And with managers that get the momentum going.
It could be challenging. It could be a regular disruptor to top six, mate. They've got potential. Them and Villa have got potential to disrupt the top six.
To get there and to stay there, given their financial backing.
Push them out. Yeah.
Man United, Rob, I mean, I'm not sure whether this is going to be a long conversation. I think it might not be, mate, because, Gary answered first in the studio today about Manchester United. And everything he said, I could have literally said exactly the same thing when it came to me. And of course, we never want to say the same thing, but the amount of doom and gloom and really kind of focused thinking on United and how and when they can get back is so difficult, mate. So please give me... Please be positive that there's an area of the team, once that's fixed, or they're going to get this and this is going to be okay. And can you see any light at the end of the tunnel in, I don't even care who's manager, of this squad of developing into a team that's going to get into the top three or four?
What we saw today was 20 minutes. I thought they used the football well. There was little signs of things starting to possibly knit together. But Rob, we have a problem. Houston, we have a major problem.
We do have a problem.
Diogo Dalot is a typical, right at the moment, Manchester United player, right? He's a typical, he sums up. Going forward, he's got good ability, he can cross his hand. He plays a lovely ball to Garnacho. They get the goal. And like, Diogo Dalot, that's great, where you want him. Diogo Dalot, one-on-one in a wide position with Harvey Barnes, does nothing. Doesn't make a tackle, doesn't put his body on him, doesn't do anything. He sums up what Manchester United are, Rob. Now, you've already, and we've got to move on this one because I know we can't spend too long, but your line you said with Liverpool, I want to revisit, too many good players. Manchester United, too many poor players is a problem. Forget the manager right now. That's a smokescreen. Forget the system. Smokescreen.
Absolutely right.
Quality players. And I've got one more little test for you, Mustoe, today. I've phoned Jim Ratcliffe up after the game and said, Jim, I've got a plan for you. We're going to give every player a free transfer, apart from Bruno. We're going, you got to, and Jim quite liked where I was going. I said, okay, Jim, we're going to get everybody a free transfer. We're going to phone all the big six clubs and see who they want on a free transfer from our team. And we'll let them go. And guess what? Garnacho got some interest. Diallo got some interest. Who's injured at the moment, but he got some interest.
Mainu might get a bit of interest.
Probably Mainu. So we're talking three who've really had academy come through the academy status, or certainly part of the production. But in terms, Rob, of every other player on the pitch, I'm talking 2 goalkeepers. You can add Bindia to Onana. You can add any of the back 5. You can add any of the midfield 2 or 3, however you want it. Ugarte, Eriksen, Casemiro. Obviously, Bruno's out. I'm saying you're a free transfer. You can go to those top 6 clubs. None of them would take them, Rob. None of them. So that's where we are with Manchester United. It's right where we are.
That's exactly right. And that's a really good way of saying it. Bruno Fernandes apart and some of those young talent that people will take on a free.
Yeah, potential.
You're right. You are right. And that's a mainly down to recruitment of the past. But you got to say, we're starting to question the recent ones, the recent signings. And maybe there's still time yet for Zirkzee, and maybe time for Lenny Yoro, who had a tough game again today. So great point. But let's maybe finish with the goalkeepers, because we don't want to keep going in the misery of the United. It's going to take a long time to fix this. Gosh. I mean, we end up starting talking about Andre Onana and the mistakes he made, of course, in the Europa League on Thursday against Lyon. And Bayindir comes in for his first Premier League appearance ever. Thinking that if he plays well, he'll play on Thursday. I said a few weeks ago, Rob, about this goalkeeper, I think in the studio with Rebecca, like, I think my answer might have been...
We were talking about it.
Were we talking about it? And I said, there's more problems than
more pressing things. You said there's more pressing things.
Is there? I mean, it might be. There still might be.
There might be, but I go back to that Liverpool and Klopp when he ended up getting Alisson. And Mignolet was a great goalkeeper, but that was the final. Yeah. But that piece isn't going away, Rob.
I know it's not going away.
That piece isn't going away. It's an itch that every now and then is going to come back with a big rash, and you keep on having to scratch it. And I don't know. Some of that depends where you're building your team from. Are you building from back to front, or are you building from front to back? But what we do know is that piece needs attention.
It's just where the money's going to come from.
You've now also, in this new situation that's happened, got 2 goalkeepers who are both rock bottom in confidence. Going into the biggest game of your season, the Europa League, that's your season, that's Champions League, that's everything. You've got now 2 goalkeepers who probably won't be picking up a cup of tea today because they'll be shaking that much, there'll be no tea left in the cup.
I don't want to get into it now, Rob, but how does a club like Manchester United, in that big a position, manage to have 2 goalkeepers right now that you can't really trust to save the ball when it's shot at the goal? I mean, I feel so bad for Man United fans, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. They are some of the best fans in the country.
Absolutely.
And Gary
you see them after the game.
They never boo they won't boo the players, they won't boo the managers. They support the team like crazy, and they're having to be super patient in this really difficult time. But listen, let's hope they do well in Europa. Let's hope they find a way past Lyon. There's 2-2 after the first leg. Let's hope they find a way
in the first leg.
And bring a little bit of good feeling back to the football club.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Lowe, and as we head towards the end of an exciting Premier League season, make sure you like and subscribe on the NBC Sports YouTube channel for more content like this.